You think Jesus can do anything right here in Las Vegas, Sin City? I believe that what God is doing is He's creating an eternal testimony. And what we know is when we can come together under a spirit of unity, nothing will be impossible. Hey, Las Vegas, welcome once again to Las Vegas United. I am your host, Aaron Pino, and here at Las Vegas United, we are all about what God is doing right here in Las Vegas. You know, we believe, Psalms 133, it says, how good it is for brethren to dwell together in unity, for there is the commanded blessing of the Lord. And I don't know if you realize this or not, but we have some amazing people right here in Las Vegas that are doing amazing things, and we are seeing God do something in our city that goes beyond comprehension, people's ability. And so today I have a very special guest for us, my friend Jenny. Jenny, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for letting me be here today. I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited to share.
Yeah. We're so excited to have you. So tell people a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in Vegas, and what you are a part of here in Vegas.
So I'm Jenny Faye. My husband and I have been in Vegas for about 18 and a half years now. Originally, I'm from Oklahoma, but Vegas is home now.
Yeah.
So good. We came out to work at a church, and we've seen God do amazing things in our lives and in the city since then. Nowadays, I'm with an organization called Olive Crest.
Yes.
I love it. Our mission is to end child abuse and neglect. It's a very real issue. Studies say that in the United States, 5 children every day die from abuse and neglect.
Wow.
And I'm not okay with that. I don't think God's okay with that. I don't think the people viewing this are okay with that. It's a real issue. And so we believe that if we all come together through our approach, we can turn the tide on that and really make a difference in our city and in our state.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. You know, child abuse is rampant. So we have some people in our church who are senior chaplains with Metro Police Department.
Yeah.
And, you know, I get to pastor kind of the pastors of Metro. You know, they get to come and talk to me. And families here in Vegas need help on different levels. And so I'm really glad that we get to have a conversation today about what Olive Crest does here in Vegas.
Yes. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, it's really awesome. So how long have you been a part of Olive Crest?
I'm newer to Olive Crest.
Okay.
I've been on staff at Olive Crest since February.
Okay.
Kind of took a windy path there, and I'm so grateful it's where I landed. So for 13 years, I was in children's ministry.
Yeah.
Loved it, loved kids, loved the families, and then really felt God calling me to shift to something different. So about 4 years ago, I came on staff with an organization called the Cupcake Girls that worked with sex trafficking survivors, folks in the sex industry. And I started noticing this pattern in all the trainings that I went to of, gosh, they keep talking about this link between foster care and sex trafficking survivors. And I remember one training in particular, there was like a slide on the screen and it was all words. And the biggest word in the middle was foster. And then adverse childhood experiences, neglect, abuse, words like that. And they just said folks with these in their background are exponentially more vulnerable to being trafficked. Like traffickers prey on people who that's been their experience in life. And so my buddy Jimmy Monahan is the executive director of Olive Crest, Nevada. And we worked together on staff at a church. I know him and his family, good guy. So when he started sharing about Olive Crest and what they were doing, I started realizing this could be a place where a lot of things I really care about intersect. And maybe, you know, we could get on the hyper-preventative side of these kids and the trafficking piece and all of that. If their families could be safe and stable, maybe that changes the whole story for them and how vulnerable they are not, as well as just child abuse and neglect on the whole.
Yeah. This
could turn the tide on that, which is really exciting to me to be a part of something making such a difference.
Yeah. I think incredible. You know, I've heard that before in the past too. Foster care, sex trafficking, how it's, you know, me being a pastor, one of my main things in our church is to develop and raise up strong, godly men.
Yeah.
Because I believe if you have godly men, you can have godly families. Godly offspring, you know, but I really do believe that there is an assignment against our families because I believe that ultimately they're after the next generation.
Yeah.
And so, talk to us a little about some of the stuff that you guys see, what you guys do there. You know, talk to us about that.
Well, I love that you just said the emphasis that you put on family and you see the value in that. So at Olive Crest, one of the things that we talk about is the healing power of family. Like, we believe that healing's going to happen in the context of family, and we love for that to be within the context of the biological family.
Yeah.
So our programs span all the way from prevention, foster care, teens and young adults. So we have a program for teens and young adults that are aging out of the foster care system. For a lot of young adults, you think about when they turn 18, if they're in care when they're 18, a lot of times they're on their own after that. When I was 18, like, I was still just a kid. I wasn't making my own doctor's visits. I didn't know how to cook. Like, I was just a kid.
Yeah.
And for a lot of our teens and young adults aging out of foster care, that's a hard start into independence. And so this program is designed to come around them, help them launch well into independence. The hope is, can we help them access the future that they want and not just the future they feel stuck with?
Yeah.
So we help with subsidized housing, mentorship, life skills. Every month they're doing a seminar on something that's helpful just for life.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's as basic as, like, what's a meal? What would we buy at the store for that? And what would we do with those ingredients when we got home?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's internet safety, password protection. Again, just things that maybe our young adults aren't really thinking about, but could be really scary if they don't have the skills that they need in that area. We do a lot of work with education, employment. We have a savings match program. Like, that subsidized rent that our young adults pay, $100 of that every month gets put into a savings account for them that will match. So when a young adult successfully leaves the program, they could be walking away with almost $2,400 that we've matched, $2,400 that they've saved.
Wow.
What a great start into this next phase of their life. So I love that program and the way that it wraps around these folks kind of at the end of their journey in the foster system. Like I said, we're a licensed foster agency. So folks can come to us and get licensed through us. They're still licensed through the Department of Family Services. The children that get placed in their home are kids from Department of Family Services.
Wow.
But with us, they're going to get an added layer of training, support. Our caseworkers are going to come into the home every week and not just look and kind of check boxes and be like, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? But really sit down and say, how are you doing?
Yeah.
How's the kiddo in care doing? What are the behaviors? How do we have strategies so that everybody can thrive? We think it would be beautiful if our foster families are thriving and supported, and then the kids in care are actually experiencing healing in that time that they're with foster families. Our goal is always reunification. Yeah. So how cool when that child in care reunifies with their family, if they've already started accessing services that they need, they've already, started that healing process, and then they reunify with their biological family to hopefully start thriving here on out. So
wow.
I love it. I mean, foster parent night out, connection with other foster parents, so many different things that we do to support foster parents, because statistics say that within like that first year of someone fostering, 50% of those families will close their license after the first year.
No way.
It's hard. Fostering is hard.
Oh, of course.
But it is good and worthy. And on the converse side of that, statistics say that foster families that have support, 90% will keep their license open after that first. So that support is a critical piece in people continuing on and continuing to welcome kids in their home, which is needed in our city. There is a need for foster families in our city, and so we want to make sure people are equipped well and supported well to be able to do that.
Wow.
And then we have a whole slew of prevention programs, working with biological families, helping them stay together. Wouldn't it be great if parents had the tools and resources they need so their kids didn't get removed from the home? Yeah. But instead, we have programs where our team will go into the home and work with families and figure out what's going on. How do we help you navigate through that? What we're seeing with a lot of families is this generational cycle of abuse and neglect. Oh, yeah. It's not parents waking up one morning and saying, you know what I want to do today? I'm going to abuse and neglect. That's not what's happening. Right. A lot of times parents are waking up and they're thinking, I'm doing better than my parents did. And they are. Yeah. but there still may be abuse or neglect happening, or they still may be on a trajectory toward abuse and neglect. And so we really feel like if our team can come in and rally around them and help them, like I said, have the tools to do differently, then that family's set up for success to be strong and stable for those kids in their care.
Yeah, yeah. I think, I know I keep saying it's incredible, but it really is. What I love about all of Crest is, and hearing you talk, is you guys really have a heart for people. Mm-hmm. And if you can get people in family, community, like family there, it can help change the trajectory of someone's life. So let me ask you a question. So, I'm a pastor, so I work with people all the time. You work with people. Yep. That's what you guys do. And I know the nature of people, and sometimes our nature, not just people who are watching nature, but our nature could be, like we need help, but we don't like to ask for help. So what would you say to somebody, maybe a mom and a dad who's struggling with their kids now, or maybe someone who is entering into the foster care system where they want to be foster parents? What would you say to somebody who is hesitant for asking for help? What would you say to somebody like that?
I would say there is no shame in asking for help. And I really like our team. None of our team will look at someone and say, I can't believe you couldn't figure this out on your own. All of us as humans are just trying to figure out most days one day at a time.
Right.
So we're all there. So let's just admit it.
Myself
let's come
included.
together. And I feel like collectively we're bigger and better than any of us by ourselves. And so let's learn from each other's experience, learn from each other's knowledge. And I hope that just the thought that it might not have to be as hard as we think it is. Like maybe that could be the motivator of this is uncomfortable to ask for help. I got all sorts of feelings about asking for help, but could that potential outcome be worth it all? Could we say, I'm going to get uncomfortable for the sake of my kids, for the sake of the kids in our city, and I'm going to reach out to Olive Crest?
Yeah, I love your answer. I know the answer. It's like, hey, listen, there is no shame.
Right.
There's no shame. And if you're watching this and you're saying that, like, I know I'm looking at the camera right now, but there's no shame,
and I think that's a lie that gets fed to us and really cuts us off from a lot of things that could help. Did you know that the leading cause of neglect is isolation?
Wow.
So you think about, just in general in Vegas, like it can sometimes be harder to meet people or build that network. Especially, you think COVID, quarantine, how much more isolated we all were, families were. Like isolation is real, but I think that lie of shame in reaching out for help, that feeds into isolation and that feeds into the problem. And so I think for people to have the courage to take a stand to say, I'm not going to listen to that lie.
Yeah.
I don't care how my feelings are telling me about this. I know that this will help my family. I'm going to reach out.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. And towards the end, we'll let people know how they can reach out.
Yes,
and,
good.
get in contact with you guys and everything like that. So what are... practically, I know no shame, everything like that. So say someone calls you and say, I don't know where to start.
Yep.
Help me.
Yes. Honestly, I love it when people call and say that, because then our team, that conversation on the phone looks a lot like, tell me more about what's going on. And we're just going to start asking questions to get an idea of like, what's the picture of what's going on? And then we'll think through our different programs and resources and things in the city and go, okay, this seems like this might be helpful. We're a family resource center. So there's a handful of family resource centers all across Las Vegas. We all have certain zip codes that we serve. This is like our one program that's zip code based. So we're Northwest and North Las Vegas predominantly. So we're going to listen for what's the need here. Maybe somebody needs an emergency bag of food. Great, we've got that. And let's have a bigger conversation about what's going on, what led up to this. Let's make a plan for beyond this. Again, just that, not just here, you said you needed food, here you go, see you later. But way more of a relational conversation of how do we support, how do we help?
Yeah, that's great. Hearing you talk, and I'm kind of reverting back to something you said before, parents doing their best, and they say, I'm doing better than my parents did. I was actually thinking about this on the way in today, how we can pass things down generationally.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we don't take care of it, those who come after us will have to suffer. You know, we can't really control what happens to us, but I believe that we can control what happens in us and through us. And so, you know, I just want to encourage anybody who's watching, you know, if you're watching this and you're saying, I need help, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
We have friends in Las Vegas who will help you.
Yeah.
Who maybe you don't know the step you need to take. They will walk through this with you to change the trajectory of your life and the life of your kids. So no shame.
No shame. And Pastor Aaron, one of the cool things how you talked about, we pass on stuff to the next generation. So yes, we want to change that trajectory because we don't want to pass on that generational cycle of abuse and neglect. But when families start to thrive, when families have better tools and habits and healthier practices, then what they pass on, what a gift to pass on to this next generation. Healthy ways to communicate, healthy ways to do life. Even for parents and families looking to help, which we'll talk more about in a minute. But what if we could start some really cool life-giving generational cycles, as well as break some of those negative cycles as well? Like, that's really exciting to me.
Yeah, I'm thinking this as you're talking like that. I love how passionate you are about this. You know what I mean? And
True.
And I'm sure you're not the only one.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, what I'm picking up from you guys is we're not doing this because we have to do this. It's not like we're obligated to this. My interaction with you guys thus far has been like, we really genuinely want to help. And you're not a burden. You're not an obligation for us. And we want to help in that stuff.
100%. And our executive director, Jimmy Monahan, has an incredible story. Love for you to hear that from him at some point. But he would be fully okay with me sharing this. For him, this isn't a job. This is a calling. He talks about how in their life, almost 20 years ago, their firstborn was removed from them at the hospital, drug positive. He and his wife had substance abuse addictions. And so he talked about how they were in another state, but he said there was an agency there similar to Olive Crest that just whispered hope into their life. And so through a lot of hard work and God's grace, they were able to turn things around, got their daughter back, had 3 other biological kids.
Wow.
And then a few years ago, they saw a family struggling in a similar way with 3 little ones, a baby, a 3-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And Jimmy and his wife looked at each other and said, let's do for this family what somebody did for us. Wow. And so they fostered those kiddos, and their parents ended up not taking the steps. Their rights were terminated, and so Jimmy and his wife adopted those 3.
Wow.
They recently took in another kiddo that they're fostering. But I just think, like you were saying, if we're not just people punching a time card, like we very much care about this mission and the people that we're coming into contact with every day.
Yeah.
And we've seen the difference that it can make in lives, and we want that to continue expanding to other lives.
Yeah. Wonderful. I think this whole thing is wonderful. So I want to give you some time to talk about how people can get involved.
Yes.
First of all, let's talk about if someone is out there, maybe they're a foster parent, a family that's needing help, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you guys?
I would encourage them to start with our website, www.olivecrest.org/Nevada. We're actually part of a national organization. We've got branches in California, Washington, and in Nevada. And so if people go to olivecrest.org/Nevada, it's going to take them more to information about locally what's going on.
Very good. Now, and talk to me now, for those of us who want to partner with Olive Crest to make a difference in other people's lives.
We are always looking for people to join our cause because we believe it's going to take all of us.
Absolutely.
And I know that sometimes when people hear, hey, our mission is to end child abuse and neglect, that can just sound so big and daunting. And people go, I don't even know where I would start or what I would do. And so we like to break it down into 3 categories, and everybody can kind of find their fit. One of the things that we say around Olive Crest is, everyone can do something.
Yeah.
So what's your something? And so we think of champion, friend, and family. So on the champion side, maybe there are people who say, I want to champion this cause. So create awareness. We've got the ability for people to sign up for a 40 days of prayer to where they can get emailed or texted a verse and just a short prayer that they could be praying every day. We've got a 5-day family discipleship experience where as a family you can sit down for 5 days, about 20 minutes a day, and just kind of see God's heart for kids and start thinking as a family of like, this is how God feels about kids. What should that look like in our lives? Also on the champion would be on the giving side. So donate to one of our drives or become a monthly sustaining donor. Yeah. So we have this vision of, 1,000 people giving $100 a month, and that would create such a foundation for our organization financially. We're publicly and privately funded. And so we want that foundation to where any other additional grants or individuals who come in, and that just continues to expand the work that we do. So we encourage people to think about maybe champion is the right fit for you. For some people, maybe being a friend is the right fit. And we think of that more along the lines of volunteering. Yeah. We have lots of ways that people can volunteer in our office, out in the community, several different ways we can help someone get connected to really meaningful experiences if that feels like the right fit for them on the friend side. Yeah. And then the next option is family. There are some people who foster care or opening up their home has pinged on their radar. Mm-hmm. And like kind of what you said, they maybe don't really know what to do with that thought or that question. And so we'd love to talk with them more about that. Every month we offer a foster info session, and it's about an hour long of just come find out more. What is foster? What's the process? Let's talk a little bit more about it. And again, champion, friend, family, we feel like everyone can find something within there that fits their wiring, their stage in life. Everyone can do something. So now it's time to think about what's your something. Yeah,
that's awesome. If you're watching this right now, I highly, highly encourage you to go to the website link that we'll put down below and partner with them. Champion, friend, family, we're all in this together. Mm-hmm. And so the way I like to look at it is, what if it was you? What if you were the one in need of help? Maybe you are in need of help. Maybe you're not in need of help, but what if it was you? What would it take? And so I kind of like to put myself in that mindset, that position. So go ahead to the link down below and partner with this amazing organization that's making a difference in the lives of people right here in our city. So I want to ask you another question.
Okay.
So Las Vegas United.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does a united Las Vegas look like to you?
Lots of different things come to mind, but one of the main things that comes to mind is thinking about whether it's child abuse and neglect or other issues and things that our city, our community is facing. I believe it's going to take all of us to make a difference. And so when we all work together, kind of each of us, I think about like a giant jigsaw puzzle. And I'm like, well, this is my piece. And maybe when I look at it, I can kind of tell what it is. But when I put it down with all the other pieces, we go, oh, that really filled in something that was needed. Yeah. And so I think about all of us thinking about our gifts, talents, abilities, all of that. How can we bring that to the table together? And even for us as an agency, this is really important to us. There are a lot of nonprofits in Las Vegas doing great things. Yeah. We don't need to recreate what everybody else is doing. Right. Let's work together so that families have more and better support. And so I think that on the agency side and on the individual side, that as we work together, as we're united, we can accomplish more than any of us could accomplish on our own. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Again, me being a pastor, I put the spin on things. It goes back to the body of Christ, The body of Christ, we're one body with many different parts. And so we all are needed to work together to accomplish the mission that's at hand. And so, Jenny, I just want to say thanks for being on our show today. I've had a blast. Listen, you're watching here today. I want to say, first of all, thank you for watching today's episode. Again, partner with this wonderful agency. They're making a difference in people's lives here in our community.
Also, if you would like to be a part of what God is doing right here through Las Vegas United, you can do that by going to the link that's on your screen right now. Here at Las Vegas United, I'm telling you, we are partnering with God to create an eternal testimony of his goodness, mercy, and power right here in our city. So let us know, who should we bring on? If there's a guest that you think we should talk to, someone in the community that we don't know about, let us know, because we are all in this thing together, and God's wanting to use all of us. So anyway, Jenny, thanks for being on today.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time right here on Las Vegas United.
I was born addicted to drugs.
I was neglected and left in my playpen all day.
We never thought we could stay together.
The task before us is great. In the United States, a child is reported abused every 10 seconds. That's 6 precious children every minute of every day. And each and every day across our country, 5 children die from that abuse. Imagine what the world would look like if every child had a strong family. For over 40 years, that is what Olive Crest has done for over 100,000 children and families. We provide services to over 3,500 children and families in crisis every day. We help those children in abusive or traumatic situations and move them into safe and loving homes. We're transforming children's lives through the healing power of family. We not only provide a bed, but a bedtime story. Not just a meal, but a family dinner. Not just a placement, but a home. We aren't just providing programs, we are raising healthy, confident kids. Our mission is the prevention of child abuse, the treatment and education of at-risk children, and preserving the family one life at a time.
I was born in jail. I have a home and a comfortable bed.
I lived in 8 homes and had night terrors. I have a forever home and sleep soundly.
I was beaten and scared. Now I'm a college graduate.
I was left alone and did not speak. I have siblings and you can't get me to shut up.
Hey Las Vegas, thank you so much for watching our show this week. Next week, Pastor Aaron is going to be talking to Gloria Campman from the Nevada Houses of Prayer. They open up the conversation to prayer and how overlooked our intercessors are in the church. Gloria shares her heart and how God revealed to her the power of prayer throughout her work in ministry. This show premieres on Facebook and YouTube on Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can also listen to our show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts Mondays at 8 p.m. If you live in Vegas, you can watch our show on over-the-air television on Keen, Channel 17 every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. We hope you tune in. Our show is hosted by Pastor Aaron Pino of Overflow Church. To learn more about him and his ministry, please visit overflowchurch.co. The guest this week is Jenny Fay of Olive Crest, Nevada. For more information, visit olivecrest.org. To get involved, visit olivecrest.org/volunteer. Las Vegas United is produced by CTN Vegas, the Las Vegas location for the Christian Television Network. For more information about CTN Vegas and our show, please visit ctnvegas.com.